Hey guys, my name is BobLyn, and welcome to another and little new type of video, a special video. I think that there is a problem with aircraft carriers in the game. You already probably know that, but first of all, I want to say that I am not holy. I cannot sit here and tell you I haven't played CVs because look, I own quite a lot. The amount of CVs I have played is pretty big. There's a lot of these on my list here that I haven't played. But I have gotten all the tier 10 tech tree CVs and played through the whole tech trees. And I intend to get the Nakamov as well. And in this gameplay, you're going to see here first, we're going to play the Chkalov. That is for you nukes, because you requested it. But that's not what this is about. I am here to talk about how I think you could balance the aircraft carrier class. It is pretty obvious to anyone who plays this game that the aircraft carrier is the most influential and powerful class in the game. And that is also true in real life. All navies revolve around the nation's aircraft carrier or the allies' aircraft carrier. So it is realistic, and it does make sense, because being able to project power while you yourself being safe is very, very powerful. And fellas, ladies and gentlemen, it's gonna get a little ranty from here. So if you don't want to hear that, skip to the timestamp I put. But anyways, that is the whole problem. They can project power without losing HP themselves. In this whole game, if you want to deal damage, you have to get close. Especially if you're a DD and a cruiser, you have to get close and expose yourself. Trade HP for damage. The same with BBs. You're huge targets. Everybody can spot you. You have a lot of HP, but you do trade a lot of that HP just to stay in the battle, right? So all the three classes on the surface have to deal with that, but the CV doesn't. And if you guys know Potato Quality, a lot of his ideas are going to come through here in mine, because I think that his critique of the aircraft carrier class is very, very fair and based on a lot of experience. So I'm also going to link that video in the bottom. He's a PC player, and they have a different kind of CV, but it's still the same problem. My biggest problem with this class is not the fact that they don't take damage for dealing damage. No, it's not the fact that they can, nuke bots and they can farm bots and spam the rank 1 leaderboards. No. It is the perma-spotting. Especially when you are a DD and a cruiser player. Being spotted all the time, just because there's a certain class in the game, is one of the most annoying feelings in the whole world. So I am a Harugumo player, and that's the first DD I ever started playing. It is very hard to play Harugumo without, when there's a CV in the game. You have to use smokes just to stay alive, and you need those smokes to deal damage. And those of you who've played a DD and main DDs, you know how annoying it is, especially you Shimakaze players out there. Now, I don't like Shimakaze, but it's more like a joke, because honestly, there's a lot of good Shima players out there that can be devastating, and they are no joke. But at the same time they are. But a Shima player is just ruined by the fact that there's a CV on the team. So I want to change spotting mechanics in this game. And how would I do that? Now, if you were to say that instead of when the CV's planes reach an enemy target and they spot them, the whole team can see them, right? We know that. Let's change that so if the CV flies over a target, it is only spotted for he in himself. Only the CV can see what the plane sees. But let's introduce a skill that makes it so the whole team can see it. And I propose aerial recon. Aerial recon. All of your airborne squadrons illuminate a 5-kilometer radius that detects all visible enemies for you and your team. Skill active for 30 seconds, cooldown 40 seconds. So, this would basically mean that the CV has to choose which targets he wants the team to see. So, let's say you're playing Hakuryu, and it's the start of the game, you're sending out all your planes. You spot a Shimakaze who is going on the wide flank. Well, instead of, using your skill right then and there, if you can take him out, you just take him out. But let's say the Shimakaze is not on a wide flank, but he's instead pretty close to one of your BBs. Well, that's the time you should use aerial recon. And of course, the CV would have maybe, let's say, 4 or 5 of these skills, 3 or something. Not that, not too many, but at the same time, not too little. I think this skill would make it a lot more fun to play CV, and it would make it harder too, which I actually do think it needs. Like Midway, for example, that thing needs a little bit of skill. Malta needs a little bit of skill, in my opinion at least. But with this aerial recon and the eliminating of permaspotting from the CV, I think the game would be a lot more fun. So obviously that skill right there is not in the game. This is not made by Wargaming, guys. Disclaimer. This is just my proposal to Wargaming and to the community to maybe changing the CVs. And this could also work on PC. This could also work on WoW's Legends, I'm pretty sure. At least in my opinion, this sounds like a reasonable idea to fix the CVs. It's not including AA. I have completely scrapped manual AA, although I would love to see that. But I think this is an idea that might be able to change the dynamic of the game in a more balanced and fun way. And I really hope Wargaming, if you're watching, that you take this into consideration, because I was thinking, I had a night shift, a 12-hour night shift, and I was thinking about this, actually sitting in my Discord, writing to some of my viewers, you guys, Chris, Marksman, and we were debating what to do about CVs, because both of those guys are CV mains, and you know, I'm very anti-CV, but I have to say this, guys, I have nothing against the players behind the CVs. What I'm trying to do here is exactly that, trying to change the CV itself, the way it works, the whole gameplay of it, by just a simple factor. And I hope you understand. I'm gonna tell it again. As a CV, you can only spot for yourself. If your plane spots somebody, they're not going to be seen by the team. But if you use aerial recon, a 5-kilometer radius around your planes, all squadrons you have in the air at that time, and you send out. So, you know, if you're a Haku, you have a lot of area you can, spot. If you're a Midway, you don't have as much. But, and then you can choose what to spot. You can choose, okay, hey, there's a DD who's trying to flank my battleships. I'm gonna illuminate that area to make sure my team sees it. I think that would be a really fun skill. And another thing you need to change, Wargaming, and I think it's clear for everybody, is the auto lock on dive bombers. As this Kagero just saves my life here. Thank you, Kakashi, I think it was. Yeah, look at this. I send my dive bombers out and I just don't even look at them. That's wrong, man. This is wrong. This is just making it too easy. Ships like Indomitable, which is the CV I'm facing in this game, we don't get him actually. Like, it's just, you don't even have to think when you're playing that ship. You can literally, people don't use the fighters either, even though they're the most strong fighters in tier 8, I think. Maybe Sanzang is better, I don't know. You'll have to correct me. But being able to send dive bombers out and not even look at them, and you're hitting maybe 70% of the time, is just BS in my opinion. So they need to make it a skill that you have to hit, just like torpedo bombers. I have a lot more respect for somebody who can hit me with torpedo bombers consistently in a DD when I'm playing a DD than I do somebody who just sends midway dive bombers. Man, it's very annoying. So I would love to see that changed as well. Now, of course, I would love to hear your feedback on what you think about this aerial recon. I think it's going to be a very, very good skill and a fun change. So of course I would love to see feedback in the comments. And Wargaming, if you're watching this, I would love to hear what you think about this. But yeah, anyways, I actually have 2 gameplays in this, and that's because I want to talk about the MVR. If you guys haven't seen Sly's newest video on the CVs here, it's I can't remember what it's called. It's I know he's finished the Manfred von Richthofen grind. He just needs silver now. So of course I'm also gonna link that, guys. Go watch the video. It's actually a great video, where Sly also talks about the CV and a little bit about the balancing. And what he emphasizes a lot is that it all depends on the player. Well, not all, but a lot of it depends on the player, and he's absolutely right about that. Because the more skill, more time you have sunk into these ships, the better you're going to be. And that is one thing I love about the CV. I think the fact that there's a high skill ceiling on a lot of them is very, very nice and welcomed. So I don't think by nerfing CVs, by doing something that makes them outright bad and hinders that skill, ability to improve in skill level with the class. If they take that away, that would just be sad, because there's nothing better than, and I have to admit this, guys, I am guilty of thinking this, when I'm playing in a squad with a CV who I know is good, I love picking up my Worcester or my Holland or my something with good AA and just helping this guy, because the power projection that an aircraft carrier has is undoubtedly the biggest and best in the game, and when they are in the game, you better take advantage of it. But at the same time, being able to just permaspot somebody is just unfair, and you're gonna see that later here in the game. I chose this gameplay also because, well, it's actually a really good MBR gameplay, and I have to admit, guys, the MBR is my favorite CV, and this is the only CV that I would play if I'm actually in the mood to play the class. And sometimes I am, I have to admit. I do think the MBR is fun. I think the AP dive bombers would be more fun if you had to aim them. But the AP dive bombers in and of themselves are a little bit more fair in my opinion, because compared to something like Midway or Malta, where you just dump damage and you get fires, this is a lot more, sometimes you get a Citadel, sometimes you don't. And if you get a Citadel, it's good damage, right? But it's not gonna nuke somebody completely. Yeah, it's gonna nuke a Smolensk, and that's how it should be. But in this gameplay, we're gonna kind of ruin a really good player, actually, a really good DD player who did his best to dodge. It is the Daring on the enemy team, who currently is on a wide flank to take out the Minotaur, and he's helping this GK out there. But if I wasn't in an aircraft carrier this game, and there was no CV in this game, I think he would have won, because the only reason he lost is because I was able to send planes all the time in his direction, making him pretty much obsolete when there's a full health BB and a Manfred sending planes. But yeah, here we see the dive bombers, and of course they're very good for finishing off targets. But imagine this, imagine if I was not able to spot the enemy team all the time. If, let's say that Johan David was not spotted by the enemy team, maybe he was not going to be as close to being dead. Of course, that Iowa there, the Iowa bot completely annihilated him, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say with the skill. You have to understand there would be an extra skill slot, so MBR would have, let's say, a fourth skill instead of having only 3, I say. And all the other CVs would also have an active skill they need to use. So that's why I made this little icon. We can have it come up again here. So yeah, here we see it, aerial recon. I just took the scouting plane, scouting plane skill, and put an eye on, and did a little tweaking with the colors. So Bob's paint lessons has leveled up, guys. We're now using Photoshop. But yeah, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say with the skill and what it does and what it would do. And I like I said, I would really love to hear your opinions on it, especially you CV mains, especially CV players. I want to hear it from Steve, Nukes, Mr. Mime, all the EU guys. You know who you are. You know who you are. Amin, Yukino Hana. Who else do we have? There's so many guys. If I left somebody out, it's not because I don't see you as good players, but there's a lot of good CV players on EU, I have to say. And I think there needs to be, like I said, a high skill ceiling. But here it is, guys. Look at this. This is Daring. He's trying to defend the base. He's full HP, and I'm sorry, Austria. I'm really sorry. I sent my dive bombers, and yeah, we've gotten pretty close. This is why I love the MBR. Just look at this power projection. We also have firepower in guns. But even though he was in his smoke, he still got hit by 5 bombs, 1 torpedo. And like, what's he gonna do, man? What's he actually gonna do? There's a full health BB just barreling down. And then there's a CV coming out from beyond the cliff who actually can shoot secondaries at him. Yeah, bro, this... And he can't go undetected. That's the most unfair thing. Look, I just sent my fighters there, no problem. Okay, they're in the dogfight now, but now my dive bombers are ready, so I just put them on him, and then he's going to be spotted again. It's so dumb. Imagine if I had my aerial recon skill on cooldown right now. Imagine that. Then when my dive bombers are going to spot him, there we go, he's in his smoke. That's another thing to be said. If a DD is inside a smoke, aerial recon will not spot them. That's why it has to be visible enemies. it will not spot them if they are in the smoke. So of course that would be totally unfair. But if he had not used his smoke there and my aerial recon skill was on cooldown, I would not be able to spot him for my Montana, my BB. So you can see that would be a whole nother dynamic. And of course the enemy ship who is being illuminated by aerial recon would know that he's being illuminated. I think that there should be an indicator that tells you, you know, okay, the whole enemy team can see you right now. I think that would just make sense. And I think the meta for CV players would be to, you know, hold on to their skill, send out their squadrons, spot whatever they can, do some damage, then they know what's happening. And if you're playing with the, you know, using communication, using the pings, then you can help your team. You just use the exclamation ping, you know, there's the enemy team going, there's a DD, blah, blah, blah. And then when you send out your next strike, you can use aerial recon. You have maybe 4 or 5 uses of this. That's how I would balance CVs, guys. And I really, like I said, would love to hear what you have to say, especially CV players. Please put your, you know, your thoughts in the comments. And I hope Wargaming sees this. I'm gonna put it in the CC Discord and also hopefully get some input from the other CCs. I would love to hear that. But like I said, I don't hate CV players. I have nothing against CV players, but I have something against the way the class is made and the way the class is balanced. So my name has been BobLyn. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm signing out.